Last week, the presidents of all the Football West clubs held a meeting with the standing committee. And with me now, I've got Don Evans, who is going to give us a report on that meeting. Don, can you fill us in on exactly what happened?
Yeah, Eamon, and to all the viewers out there, it was a good meeting. It was conducted with good spirit, chaired by Chairman of the Standing Committee, Peter Kalitzis, who basically raised a number of issues for clubs to discuss and try to work out the best way forward. Recommendations to Football West in relation to issues like the structure of the system, the clubs, what they'll need within their criteria, within their own club development, what will allow them to become Premier League clubs of the future. So that discussion went on for quite a while. A lot of criteria there clubs felt was probably a little bit too asking too much too quick, and a bit of a need for some let's call it fair lead-up time. And I think the issue of going to 8 clubs was something that most of the clubs felt was something that needed to slow down rather than be implemented very quickly. And there was talk of 10, the league cut down to 10 clubs over the 2-year period, and then after another 2 years down to 8 if it was so required. But no, there were many issues discussed, and for me, I think what came out of it was it gives us a real good chance now to get fresh dialogue with Football West. Unfortunately, with a changeover of the operations manager David West and now Keith Wood taking over, some of the recommendations put to the board were probably not truly representative of what the clubs were looking for, and therefore a lot of this stuff is now going to be pulled apart, and the actual review is going to be reviewed. So yeah, that was pretty much the course of events for the night. It did go on for a couple of hours. It wasn't just about league structure. It was discussion about gate entries, which as much as it's a small part of what goes on match day, with referees' fees going up and costs on clubs increasing, clubs obviously have to find somewhere where they can get that little bit of extra revenue to cover these issues, and the discussion of the fees going up by a couple of dollars. Everyone basically felt that that was going a bit too steep too quick, and I think we agreed to call it $8 and with a concession of $5, and we also spoke about the under-18s games, where we felt that parents who are coming with their kids shouldn't be taxed a full dollar, because they don't stick around for most of the day. They're there for their kids on that first game. So a lot of common sense applied on that night. Maybe I need you to refresh me on other issues that may have been talked about.
Well, I think there was there something done about just how far Football West has progressed over the last number of seasons?
Yeah, there was a fair bit of a discussion at the end of it. That was in the general business time, where we spoke about what achievements Football West had in actual fact brought to the game here in West Australia, and on reflection, I think a lot of people who were at that meeting were quite surprised of all the inroads that had been made. So as much as it wasn't a meeting to put any negativity into the system, it was also a night where we had a chance to reflect on where we've come in this last 4 or 5 years of call it new football development. And yeah, there are a lot of good positives coming through, and I think the consensus was let's all keep working, talking together, and clubs have to be working as brothers and sisters trying to progress. I'll be in trouble by Penny there if she catches me saying that. Yeah, it's really a united effort is what the talk was, in everybody just trying to lift the bar a bit, and I think every club that was there is trying to do the best they can to get the improvements happening at their own particular venues, I think the meetings now will be more frequent. This was the first President's meeting for quite a while, and I think you'll see a lot more interested presidents, because there are changes coming. So if you want to be part of the system for the future, I think you've got to be on the ball. And have we just scored another one?
Probably.
Sorry, guys. I know I'm not going to gloat, but it's a nice day out here at Inglewood Reserve or Clipsal Stadium for the Lions, thank God. But yeah, I think there'll be a lot more discussion, between dialogue between not just presidents, not just Football West, but all people, including yourself, Eamon, and people within the media. I think there's definitely going to be a communication upsurge over the next 12 to 18 months, because I think it's a critical time for our game here in West Australia.
Well, I think that was probably one of the main criticisms that was levelled at Football West, and that we've had levelled at them through our discussions, was the lack of actual media profile. Okay, we had the Sunday Times article, but other than that, it's been fairly lax.
Yeah, it was agreed that the sort of wave of media interest was it could just be a dumper, and we need a wave that actually continues for a long time. But I think the media side is something that everybody's agreed. We must have a good plan and a good strategy of making sure that the media plays a vital role within the promotion and development of the game. It is crucial, and I think you're going to see a hell of a lot more interaction between administrators and a better coordinated effort. And I mean, there have been casualties for the media call it glitches that occurred, and I think in any paid organisation, management has to take responsibility and address it. I commend them for addressing it. Whether it was done early enough is debatable. We now want to see some good positive communication and flow on process for the advertising of our game.
As a matter of interest, did every president turn up, or was it just for the Premier presidents?
No, in actual fact, it was an invitation to all presidents. I don't know whether the right people are being communicated with, but I think every president that was there took responsibility for making sure the next meeting that we actually had a buddy, and we said, well, we all take responsibility for bringing a president that hadn't turned up to that meeting, because apathy just won't cut it at this stage. There's no excuses. We must have everybody in attendance. There were 3 First Division presidents there and 9 Premier League presidents. So 12. It's probably just less than a 50% showing. I think the next one will be greater than 80%.
Well, that's all for today. Hope you enjoyed the show, and hope to see you next week.
Winston Forrest, John. Here's Aloisi for a place in the World Cup.